Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I can ask Karen to come in online to give us the housekeeping.
Many thanks. Please note that this meeting of the Charter Trustees is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the website for a minimum of 6 months. Please could everyone present follow these ground rules. Only speak when invited to by the Mayor. Please use the microphones on your desk when speaking, and please turn off your microphones when you are not talking. If accessing the meeting via Teams, please turn on your video function when invited to speak. If you are accessing via Teams and would like to speak on any item, please do so by utilising the raise your hand feature in the bar at the top of the Teams window. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the ground floor of the multi-storey car park. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or pushed to silent for the duration of the meeting. Many thanks. I'll hand back to you.
Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome everybody to this annual general meeting of the Bournemouth Charter Trustees, both in person, our colleagues joining remotely, and our friends and families watching online. I hope you enjoy the occasion. Honorary Clerk, please may we have apologies for absence.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Apologies have been received from the following Charter Trustees: Councillors Chris Rigby, Councillor Richard Burton, Councillor Eddie Coop, Councillor Hazel Allen, Councillor Sarah Anderson, Councillor Andy Jones, Councillor Rachel Maidment, and Councillor Karen Rampton. Sorry, and Councillor Tony Trent.
Thank you. And Honorary Clerk, can you report on any declarations of interest received?
Yes, Madam Mayor, no interests have been declared to date.
We will now take item 3 on the agenda, the election of the Mayor. I now invite Councillor Anne Filer to propose Councillor Dave Kelsey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Charter Trustees and those people who can't be with us but who are listening remotely, I have great pleasure to propose that Councillor David Kelsey be elected as Mayor of Bournemouth for the year 2021-2022. It's so odd that we are here at the installation of the new Mayor of Bournemouth in Poole Civic Centre with only a few colleagues able to attend, and we certainly do live in strange times. But one thing is for sure, and that is that Bournemouth is in for a truly outstanding year with David Kelsey as its civic head. David is my ward colleague and a very dear friend. In fact, he's a friend to so many people, and I believe he's loved and admired by everyone who meets him. But life certainly hasn't been easy for this amazing and brave man. David was born in Portsmouth and grew up in Pompey, one of 10 brothers and sisters. Having enjoyed being the only boy in cookery class at school, when he left school, he went to the local catering college. And for those of us who have enjoyed his spectacular, delicious cakes and pastries, it isn't surprising that he came out top of his class. And then in 1976, at the age of 16, he joined the army. David was in the catering corps of the Royal Engineers. He served 1 tour in Northern Ireland at the height of the Troubles, and then spent 5 years with the army in Germany. He married briefly and had a son and a daughter. Then an anonymous letter was sent to the army questioning David's sexuality, which in those days was enough to have him court-martialed on the spurious grounds of bringing the army into disrepute. David spent 6 months in jail, was stripped of his medals, and his conviction meant that in his subsequent life, he was unable to join the police force, which was a career he really wanted to pursue. What a sad reflection of the times we lived in back then. And I think it probably wouldn't be like that today. I hope so. But what army life did give David is his enormous sergeant major's voice. Whenever we councillors need to come to order, one bellow from David is enough to round us up and get us standing in line. David came to Bournemouth with some friends one weekend, loved it here and stayed here for the rest of his life. He ran Gigi nightclub at the Triangle, but this unhealthy lifestyle soon caught up with him and he became enormously overweight and contracted diabetes. David was elected to the East Cliff and Springbourne ward on Bournemouth Council in May 2007, but he became sicker and sicker over the next few months. And on Christmas Day that year, he had an emergency kidney and pancreas transplant. I remember visiting him while he was recovering, and though he was very weak and full of pain, he never moaned, never complained, and was just grateful to the person who donated, or to the family of the person who donated his organs. The David Kelsey that you see today is super fit, a regular marathon runner, and a determined healthy eater. He's a wonderful ward councillor. He won't tolerate discrimination of any kind. He's supportive of all his residents and always stands up for his right. He also cares deeply about Bournemouth, and in his role as chairman of the planning board, he's an advocate of only the very best developments for our town. Most days, you'll see David out and about with his broom and shears, tidying up all around our ward. His motto seems to be, just get on with it. He's a really amazing person. He has a wicked sense of humour, and he's the kindest, bravest, most admirable person that I know. He will throw himself with gusto into everything he undertakes, and he will bring dignity and compassion to all he does. Our beautiful town of Bournemouth is going to have a wonderful year, with a proud and superb mayor leading us. I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Finer. Councillor Lawrence Fear to second the proposal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I speak today to second Councillor Filer's wonderful and thoughtful move for Councillor Dave Kelsey to be Mayor of Bournemouth for the forthcoming year. When writing what I was going to say about Councillor Kelsey, I honestly did not know where to start. He has lived the life of over 10 people and has so much more to do. I met Dave in 2015 when I was elected to Bournemouth Borough Council. I was 21 years old, brand new to local government, and in a room of 53 other councillors, I was overwhelmed and a little intimidated. The first person I had a conversation with and who put me at ease was Councillor Kelsey. He was welcoming and kind, and from that point, a fantastic working relationship began, and a brilliant friendship started too. Councillor has done so much for so many people, from serving our country, as Councillor Filer touched on, and finally this year being recognised by the British government and will be receiving his medal that he has always rightfully deserved. After serving his country, Councillor Kelsey dived into all sorts of different work and businesses, but he still found a calling in the desire to make a difference to people's lives. When the AIDS epidemic hit in the UK in the 1980s, there was genuine fear and lack of information. Councillor Kelsey with others set up a respite centre in Bournemouth, which helped people in their darkest hour and helped with the devastating suffering that was happening all around. Councillor Kelsey also never forgot about his fellow veterans and serving personnel. With the fantastic work he has done with the British Legion Poppy Appeal, you always find Councillor Kelsey at a table full of poppies each and every year. The thousands of hours he has done for the thousands of hours he has done for the appeal has added up to tens of thousands of pounds raised, and most importantly, thousands of servicemen getting the help they need and deserve. Inclusivity has been a cornerstone of Councillor Kelsey's ethos that has been shown in supporting young councillors, welcoming all people from all backgrounds, working across party lines to get the best result for the residents of BCP Council. Councillor Kelsey inclusive work is respected by all parties and none. At the recent Police Crime Commissioner elections, there was an online hustings hosted at Springbourne Ward. Councillor Kelsey was in attendance, and after he asked a question, all the candidates were falling over themselves with praise for the work Councillor Kelsey does for the residents of Eastcliff and Springbourne. Now, I could not go without mentioning Councillor Kelsey's true love in life. Well, when I say love, it is a torturous relationship with many ups and downs, promotions and relegations, but a love that will never leave him. It is his passion for the best football club on the face of the planet, which is his mighty Portsmouth FC. So in closing, Madam Mayor, I would like to wish my brilliant friend Dave Kelsey luck for the forthcoming year. I know he's going to have a great time and he will serve Bournemouth splendidly, superbly and spectacularly. So I warmly second the move.
Thank you, Councillor Fear. I put the motion that Councillor David Kelsey be elected Mayor of Bournemouth. Could I please have those in favour raising their hand? Any against? There are none. So, Mr. Mayor, it is carried. You are our new Mayor. Congratulations. Okay, could I invite you please to depart the room so that you can be duly robed with the Chief Executive. Thank you. Would you all be upstanding? Please be seated.
It's a shame. Still nice. I don't know.
Please be upstanding to receive the Worshipful Mayor of Bournemouth.
I will now read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office. I, David Kelsey, having been elected to the office of Mayor of Bournemouth Chartered Trustees, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Good morning, MPs, Honorary Aldermen, past mayors, councillors, Honorary Clerk, officers, family and friends, and members of the public. I am so honoured to have been nominated as the Chartered Trustee Mayor of Bournemouth for the 21-22 year. With the onset of the pandemic last year, I was wondering if this would ever actually happen. Firstly, I would like to say a huge thank you to the outgoing Mayor and Deputy Mayor for all that you have done in what turned out to be the first double year for a very long time and during a most difficult period. And I hope that I can keep up the standard that you have set. I shall certainly try. I would like to say a special thank you to my friend and proposer, Councillor Anne Filer. Anne has been a huge influence on my role as a ward councillor for Eastcliff and Springbourne and has taught me many things over the 14 years that we have been ward colleagues. I would also like to thank Councillor Lawrence Fear for his kind words in seconding my appointment. Whilst he sits there with his youthful, innocent looks, if, like myself, you spend a Saturday afternoon with him at Fratton Park watching football, you will see a completely different person. I will not be appointing a mayoress, but will be seeking the help of both Richard and Andrew to help act as my escorts for this year. It has been a very difficult time over the past 14 months. And as we move ahead, I am looking forward to Bournemouth once again becoming a place for all to come and enjoy, as I did 38 years ago when having visited for a weekend and found myself staying, getting a job, a flat, and never wanting to leave. Although my hometown of Portsmouth is my favourite city, Bournemouth is, in my opinion, the best town I have ever lived in and see absolutely no reason why I would ever want to leave here. In my year as Mayor, my intention is to support all local charities in any way that I can. I will attend as many functions as I can and that I'm invited to. Local businesses have worked increasingly hard to keep going during the pandemic, and I would like to visit and offer thanks to as many as I can for doing so and for enabling Bournemouth residents to get through the tough times. The work of all the emergency services during the pandemic in keeping us all safe cannot be underestimated, along with shop workers, delivery people, supermarkets, corner shops and vets. What has made Bournemouth stand out for me during the pandemic is the hard work of the staff of BCP Council. They have kept going throughout, emptying our bins, looking after our vulnerable, our children, our elderly, keeping all of us safe and well. There are too many individual departments to mention, but without their teamwork, flexibility, and the leadership from the leader and the chief executive, we would have struggled. Hopefully this year they will be able to find a slight time to relax. So just to sum up, I will do the best I can to promote the town and all of the residents to make sure we stay as the #1 destination in the UK. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is the election of Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth. We will now take this item and I will invite Councillor Nicola Green to propose Councillor Susan Phillip.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Chartered Trustees, members of the public who may be watching. In advance of the formal motion, I would like to congratulate you, Mr. Mayor, upon your election. As a colleague and a friend, since we embarked upon this journey together, I am delighted to see you elected to the high office of Mayor of the Borough of Bournemouth, and I know that you will carry out this role with great warmth, with great inclusivity and with dignity. Turning to the business in hand, I would like to propose Councillor Susan Phillips to the position of Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth, and in so doing, to address just a few words of thanks. It is an understatement to say that Susan's year in office didn't turn out exactly as planned. When we met in the pavilion 2 years ago, she set out her vision, but none of us imagined the events that would follow. But quite typically of her positive and occasionally defiant outlook, she is absolutely determined not to be defined by the pandemic. She has resolutely carried on with supporting the residents whom she serves, visiting charities and voluntary groups wherever possible. It was my great pleasure to support her at one of these events, at a celebration for Bournemouth in Bloom. And in an entirely predictable course of events, timing went out of the window the moment she stopped to talk with each and every winner, and equally predictably found a connection with everyone she spoke to. I called Susan a couple of weeks ago to congratulate her on her 10 years since her first election to the council. Her response was characteristic. Is it really? Before I had the chance to speak further about her achievements over that decade, I had to listen to a rapid-fire list of things she had yet to achieve in her mayoral time. And as often happens, her energy left me exhausted. Her warm, compassionate and nurturing soul shines out like a beacon, welcoming all those who come into her orbit. She has indeed been the nurturing mayor, taking all to her heart and providing some solace to people through her extraordinary 2 years in office. Thank you, Susan. Mr. Mayor, I wish you every success in your mayoral year and know that you will be ably supported in your duties by Susan. I so move.
I now invite Councillor Nigel Hedges to second the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have great pleasure in seconding Councillor Nicola Green's proposal that Councillor Susan Phillips be elected to the role of Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth for 2021-22. I've had the honour of being invited a few times to escort Councillor Phillips in her role as Mayor of Bournemouth, and she always lit up any room where she was exercising her official duty, bringing a ray of sunshine, good humour, grace and friendship on each and every occasion, even when towards the end of her first year, global circumstances were making things incredibly difficult. Councillor Phillips' 222 gigs, as she called them, displayed her dedication to the role and more than ably qualifies her in the proposed role of Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth for the coming year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I put the motion that Councillor Susan Phillips be appointed the Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth. All those in favour, please show. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. I declare the election of Councillor Susan Phillips as Deputy Mayor for the ensuing municipal year. I will now ask the Deputy Mayor to put her badge on, please. I will now invite the Deputy Mayor to read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office.
I, Susan Phillips, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth Charter Trustees, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Signed this day, the 28th of May, 2021.
I now invite the Deputy Mayor to say a few words.
Mr. Mayor, Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, Councillor Nicola Green, thank you for proposing me as Deputy Mayor for this coming year. Your words before my mayor making were humbling. However, after 2 years of seeing me in action with Bournemouth residents and the communities, I thank you again for your very kind words. Councillor Nigel Hedges, thank you too for being my seconder, as you too were there on the mayor making in 2019. You and I are a good team as ward colleagues, and congratulations to you too on becoming chairman of BCP last week. I must now congratulate the new mayor, Councillor Dave Kelsey, on your election today. Please enjoy every minute in office as I have during the entire past 2 years, which has been an honour and a privilege. I have many, many special memories, and I wish to summarise just a few in no particular order. Formal presentations of Alderman, certificates to the Alderman Michael Filer and Alderman Bob Chapman. Also the presentation of the Freeman of the Town to Eddie Howe. I was involved in recommending Mrs. Ray Stollard to be awarded the MBE for her lifetime work. 5 people were recommended by the Mayor this year, received the High Sheriff of Dorset Award for dedication to their organisations and for helping residents within Bournemouth. I, in person, will be attending the TV Awards for Diversity alongside Marcus Rashford in September, and the celebrations as well of the Chinese New Year's, street scene events, citizenships. Nearly 500 took place within the first year. Business openings, military events, public display and more. Church dedications and Salvation Army events. Many charitable groups and fundraisers attended the Air Festival, The Bournemouth Sea Cadets, Holocaust and Memorial Days. Thank you, Linda Fordhorn, for what you do. Many parlour buffets to thank residents and fundraisers, and we had some famous visitors too. Calm representatives, my other charity as well, which was Street Scene. Bournemouth in Bloom supported events, supported many of their events. The signing of the coat of arms, attending chest help meetings, the Bournemouth Science Museum, which celebrated its 100 years anniversary, tree planting, flag raising in honour of Louis Tregonwell, founder of Bournemouth, International Women's Day, Soroptimist, so much I could report, especially supporting women all around the world. Many symphony orchestras, choirs, music performances, and also sing-alongs in care homes. As far as the community, multi-faith events, Hanukkah celebrations in the parlour, and appeared at the pier as well. I happened to appear on Hope Radio and TV this morning with Eamon and Ruth. Many language schools and visitors from abroad visited the parlour. I launched the Christmas pantomime Aladdin and then lit the Christmas tree at the pier, mingled with families walking through the gardens and Christmas tree display. Visited Freemasons, Rotary, Chamber of Trade events, many schools and children events, awarding honours, prizes, exams. The highlight for me was wishing to go to university myself when I left school. I actually made it, but it was at the BIC, and I was so pleased to see so many families so happy for their sons and daughters achieving their goals. And on that particular day, I believe there were 500 graduations. I could go on forever. I won't. I must now give my special thanks to Deputy Mayor Derek Bothwick and Dorothy. Please would you send that message home? I'm sure she's watching at the moment. Yes, I'm sure. My Mayor's Chaplain, Rabbi Maurice Michaels, who has been instrumental in bringing the community together with interfaith and also being there always for me. Thank you. My thanks to the Democratic Services and the Civic team, especially my PA, Hazel Randall. And in addition, I must say a very big thank you to Carl Hopton, Mace Bearer, who made my journey so special. Also, thank you, Jeffrey Brown, for accompanying me on many events. Finally, I must thank my escort, Mrs. Ray Stollard, MBE, who is sadly unable to be here today due to the circumstances of a small gathering. They have both been inclusive, both the chaplain and my escort, in most of the duties that I performed. I'd like to say thank you to them both. My two charities have been continuously supported by myself, and I would like to say thank you to the Bournemouth residents who made me feel so welcome and for the time and effort bestowed on showcasing so many talented and special people. I had no idea how special this role would be. Wow. Mr. Mayor, I look forward to being your deputy and hope that when you stand down as mayor this time next year, that you will have many happy memories as I have had. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Item 5 on the agenda, appointment of one representative and a substitute to the Association of Chartered Trustees. Can I please seek nominations? Councillor Dunlop.
Mayor, I would like to nominate yourself, please, and Councillor Lawrence Williams for substitute. Thank you.
And do I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Dove.
I'd be delighted to second, thank you.
Are there any other nominations? I will now put the motion that Councillors David Kelsey and Lawrence Williams be appointed representatives and substitutes to the Association of Chartered Trustees. Those in favour? That being unanimous, those two will take up those positions. Thank you. We will now take item 6 on the agenda to appoint budget signatories. Can I please seek nominations? Councillor Filer. I believe that there is a nomination for Councillor Lawrence Williams to take up that position. And Councillor Nicola Green to second that. Thank you. And do we have a second person nomination, please, for Councillor Bob Lawton? Councillor Dove?
I'd be delighted to say propose, thank you.
Thank you. And a seconder for that too, please. Councillor Lawrence Spear?
Yes, I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? I now put the motion that Councillors Lawrence Spear and Bob Lawton be appointed as budget signatories. Those in favour? Sorry, Lawrence Williams. I apologise, Councillor Phil. First mistake of my term. That is so carried. I declare that Councillors Lawrence Williams and Councillor Bob Lawton be appointed budget signatories. We will now take item 7 on the agenda to agree the calendar of meetings. The Chartered Trustees are asked to consider the following arrangements for meetings in accordance with standing orders, and the meetings are listed on the papers in front of you: 24th of June 21, 25th of October 21, 24th of January 22, and the 27th of May 22. Those in favour of those dates, please show. That is carried. I declare that the Chartered Trustees have agreed the calendar of meetings in accordance with the standing order. Members, that concludes the business of this meeting. Thank you to those attending and to our virtual guests watching this live streamed meeting. Thank you.
Members and officers, please be upstanding.